with us here. Just to get us started, North Carolina Courage on the road to take on the San Diego Wave. Sean, if you could, coming off a great performance at home against Kansas City, now come out west. What are you looking forward to build on last week's performance and get a result in San Diego?
Yeah, just trying to, just build off of what we did and hopefully put on a good performance and keep consistency going. But yeah, I mean, not much more than that, really. That's the most important thing, and something we have to, at this stage of the season, we put ourselves in a good position with a roster that has been sort of depleted throughout the season. So, now that we're starting to get healthy, that's a good sign. But yeah, we just need to stay true to ourselves and go from there.
And then obviously the news of Alex Morgan retirement, final game in the NWSL this weekend. If you could speak what her legacy has been to the NWSL and the impact she's had on women's soccer in America and across the world.
Yeah, I think it's, she's been a real massive piece of the growth of the women's game in this country and, overseas, and obviously a mainstay and out in the women's game. And, I think that's shown just based on attendance. And when you're playing or watching her play, you see her jerseys, you see signs, but she's always carried herself with respect and great character. She's always tried to do what's best for the game, and that's been a lot of weight on her shoulders to do that, and she's always done it her way. And I think that's very difficult to do. And it's times right now, everyone tries to do what others want you to do and how you want them to do it. And yeah, she's going out on her own terms. She's going to have a second child, and that's in and of itself amazing, and more important than anything football wise. So, sometimes in these careers, sometimes things happen where you can't go out on your own terms, but she is, and she's doing it in a way where her family's gonna grow, and I think that's something that we wish her all the best with, and all the health. And we'll be fortunate to be front row seat when she steps off the field for the last time.
Well said. Thank you very much, Victoria. I'll turn it over to you for questions.
All right, thanks. Thanks for your time, Sean. Kind of following up on that, it seems like the last couple of West Coast swings you've had, you've been involved in a game that's got a heavy emotional backstory to it. What kinds of messages do you give to the players to kind of help them keep the focus on the game throughout the game, and a little less on the emotion of it?
Well, the emotion is not on our side. The emotion's on the opposition side, because they're not our players. I think it's more just tell them the weather, just tell them the weather of the storm. But I don't bring it up much. I don't think there's a need to. I think they have a job to do. They're professionals. They know what they have to do. They have to still go perform, whether it was in front of 10,000 people or in front of 3 people. They still have to go perform it. And regardless of, it's no different of a game. You're still dealing with emotions. You're still dealing with the way the opposition is going to play. And you still have to deal with the aspects of the ins and outs of what the game presents. So, after the first whistle blows, that's, all the fanfare is over, and you're now competing against another team. So, but I don't address it much. There's no point to add it into their head. They already know what's going on. There's no point to add it more.
You mentioned getting your team healthy. You've also got a couple of good additions. In Alini Gomez, is she going to see some time on Sunday, do you think, to get in behind the San Diego defense?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the game will dictate those things. And Aline is still very young. She's only 19. So, this is a long-term process. This isn't an immediate. We wanted to get her on the field last week at home in front of our crowd as her first time, so that it just take out those nerves. But she's only really trained with us in full for a little bit. So, it's going to take some time for her to be at the level that we know she's going to be at. So but I can't predict that.
You also had Brianna Pinto just really seems to be finding a whole new level to her game. She came in on Sunday and made a big impact. What are your thoughts on her rising her game level throughout the year?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's not surprising. I think it's, you know, we have a very deep midfield and, you know, we've used Pinto a little bit higher up the field this year because of the situation. Obviously, we lost Tess and, you know, Pinto's ability to hold up the ball and in and around goal is good. Um, you know, I think from certain aspects of the game, I think there's, you know, everyone looks at it and it's like, you know what you're going to get from her in terms of she's going to be ready to go and she's going to be prepared to play. And, you know, some games may suit players more than others. And, you know, we don't put a player on with the expectation that they're going to score. We put them on to give them a chance to have the opportunity, and what they do with it is theirs. And she's done well with it. But there's still that balance of, you know, what's best for the team. Right. And, you know, I think we have to look at that as well at times, and every player, and say, you know, we want to make sure we have depth or coming off the bench as well in certain games, whether that's Pinto starting and someone else doing that or vice versa. Right? You have to, this is how I look at it, is when you have a team that is still dealing with some injuries, if you put everybody on the field, where does the depth come from when you have to make changes in certain aspects? So, you know, could you start 2 10s? Yeah, but then who's the third 10 if someone has to come out? You know, so it's really a numbers game when you look at certain things, but I'm happy for her. I think she's done well. I think she's, you know, continuing to grow, but that's just who she is. She cares so much. You know, and she'll get more opportunities. It just, you know, and what those opportunities are, we don't know, but I can't say that about anybody, you know. So she made the most of her chance last week, which was great. And there's gonna be more moments like that for her for sure.
And then kind of swinging back or dovetailing, Pinto with kind of the Alex Morgan impact on within your group of players, in terms of leadership, in terms of being a great supportive teammate. How do you see that impact manifest on the Courage?
I mean, we have a lot of players that lead. You know, you have Sully, you have KK, you have Ryan, you have Danny. Um, you know, and they all do it in their own way. You know, you have some who don't say a word, but they come every single day and they work their tails off for the betterment of the group. You have Riley Jackson, who's only 18, 19, and if you see her at training, she's just as vocal as a 67-year vet. Um, you know, so we feel we have a good mix of that. We feel we have a really good locker. Mary Speck, another one. Like, we have a really good locker room that sort of manage themselves and don't let themselves get too high, don't let themselves get too low, and keep reminding each other of what it means to be a part of the Courage, and what the individual sacrifices are going to be, and what you have to do in order to be giving ourselves a chance. And the biggest one is, if you don't defend, it's going to be very difficult. And that's anybody to a certain extent, right? And because everyone's positions are different, so they defend in different ways. But it's also following the game plan, and we have players that do that. And yeah, we're fortunate. We have a really good locker room. I'm not speaking negatively about anyone else's locker room because I'm not in there, but we have a really cool locker room and a group that really cares about each other. And that is 90% of the battle. If you have that, then you always give yourself a chance.
That's all for me for right now. So I appreciate your time, Sean.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sean. Spectrum, unless you have anything, we'll wrap things up and let Sean get back to some film review. All right. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.